good afternoon, Indiana.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is the last one of the day. Don't you feel lucky?
Our second last.
Second last one,
Okay, sorry about that. Never mind what I well, we'll introduce ourselves. We'll hand the floor over to you. If you could introduce yourselves and your teacher, and then we'll go right into the question.
Okay.
Sure.
Hi, my name is Tandy McConnell. I'm a professor of history at Columbia College in South Carolina.
I'm Sue Leeson, retired Supreme Court Justice, State of Oregon, now a mediator in U.S. Federal District Court.
And I'm Elon Bludinger. This is my 4th year chairing the Nationals. I live here in Washington, D.C. I chair the board of the Washington International School, and we are really honored to be here with you today.
We're also honored. My name is Sean Tuttle.
I'm Adam Stepanovich. Niral Shah.
My name is Michael Yurgi.
John Bukowski. We are at Unit 1 under the direction of Michael Gordon.
Where's Michael? We didn't see him. Okay.
Once again, we represent Indiana, and we are ready to testify.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're here to talk about Unit 1 today. And I'll read the question, which is question number 1, and then we'll hand the floor to you. Why was the history of the Roman Republic both an example and a warning to America's founding generation? Why do you think the founders chose a republican or representative government rather than other known forms of government? In Federalist 39, Madison argues that it is essential to such a government that it be derived from the great body of the society, not from an inconsiderable proportion or a favored class of it. Do you agree or disagree? Why?
The principal conquests of the Romans were achieved under the Republic, and the emperors, for the most part, were satisfied with preserving those dominions. From the initiation of Publius Valerius to the defeat of Carthage, the prosperous conditions were never better. However, the narcissism of a few men instigated its decline and fall, a hallowed revolution that should serve as a warning for America today.
With the collapse of the Roman Republic, Caesar Augustus uses newly gained power by creating numerous political positions throughout his empire. The most common were magistrates, both in Rome and in the provinces. As the appointees took their positions, constitutional freedom diminished throughout the Roman world.
Thus began the decline and fall of the Roman Republic, as Edward Gibbon, a contemporary of the Founding Fathers, stated in 1776. As more officials became corrupt, so too did the entire Senate majority, and eventually Caesar himself. Adam Smith wrote that luxury destroys republics. As the fate of the Roman world hung in the balance between civic virtue and self-interest, the latter became more preferable for Roman senators.
John Adams, in a letter written to his wife while at the Second Continental Congress on the eve of the approval of the Declaration of Independence, wrote, "It is the will of God that these two nations be sundered forever, so that the people will have unbounded power." Just as the Roman citizens usurped the Tarquin kings, the founders regarded taxation without a vote in Parliament as slavery, so they wished to eliminate virtual representation and create a system based on popular sovereignty.
However, Plato believed that in order for republicanism to succeed, citizens must have shared values and civic virtue. Only then can people and governors put society before self. If this is not the case, he warns us, much like Aristotle, democracy passes to despotism.
The Romans fascinated the Greek historian Polybius. He discovered that Rome functioned as a mix of autocracy, oligarchy, and republic. And he credited this mixed government with the success of the civilization.
In times of crisis that required action, the Senate would temporarily hand its power to a dictator, creating a strong executive. One man would be expected to lead his country through the plight, only to devolve his power back to the representatives when he was done. The most famous example is Cincinnati.
The immense landmass which America encompassed made a republic, like that of Rome, the obvious choice, for any other choice would create dispute among the already existing states. With representative democracy and enfranchisement offered to both Rome and its conquered dominions, Rome succeeded in creating the largest and most successful civilization the founders could have studied. What the founders learned from Rome can be seen in Federalist 10, where Madison argues that a republic is the best way to expand the vote to the people of a large nation and prevent the iron lung of oligarchy.
Rome, with the office of the tribune, created a way for the lowest classes of society to be represented in government. However, those with the highest standing in society primarily governed the Roman Republic. To become a citizen, and thus to be able to hold office or vote, one had to be Latin, male, and a landowner.
Early founders agreed with David Hume, saying that public opinion must be refined and that passion must be separated from reason. They believed that the uneducated masses could not be trusted with the success of government, so they created institutions that helped to remove government from their control. The Electoral College is a prime example of this.
Madison's argument in Federalist 39 is ideal, but the issue is that he contradicts himself. In fact, he and many of the founders believed in keeping the power to vote from certain classes and races.
We advocated expanding suffrage, and so did the Romans, who offered a place in society to their vanquished enemies. In A Theory of Justice, political philosopher John Rawls said that we must expand the enfranchisement to guarantee fairness. Only then can our government establish justice and promote the general welfare.
The founders wished to emulate the successes of the Roman Republic. With large population and land, they knew that a republic could afford rights to citizens while ensuring protection from mob democracy, because popular sovereignty with limits ensured a successful state. While the successes of early Rome were a paragon of republicanism, its fall is a grim warning of what it can become.
I want to pick up something that I think the very first line that I think maybe it was you, Michael, that said this is a warning to America today. You know, there's something to be said about a monarchy. I mean, in the monarchy, the historian Gordon Wood said that monarchies are somewhat simple. They maintain their order, but simply by their presence. In many cases, they take their authority through divine authority. By contrast, in a republic, rulers govern with the support of the ruled. So some would argue that in the United States today that we are approaching a situation where civic virtue is being challenged like never before. You have a congresswoman in Minnesota who advocated that her constituents in the state of Minnesota not pay federal taxes that are imposed. This is just prior to healthcare legislation becoming the law of the land. Healthcare reform becoming the law of the land. Then you have states attorney generals in various states that are suing the federal government for overreaching by requiring residents of their states to purchase health insurance. So my question, I guess, is how do we avoid heading down the same path the Roman Republic ended up through the decline of civic virtue, which many would argue that healthcare legislation is just one of many examples.
Well, Cicero, and he's the author of De Republica, he stated that, moreover, virtue is nature perfected and raised to its highest level, and therefore man is therefore a resemblance of God. I think that the demagogues, or so to speak, Barack Obama or Sarah Palin, create a sort of way that they wrestle the passion from the reason, and that they create a more probable cause for the majority of the voters to become more entangled in the whims of the society instead of the actual reasons for it.
I think we need to look at why people look to these figureheads. You see, in the Roman Republic, the reason why Julius Caesar gained so much power was the fact that people in Rome, specifically the plebeians, felt that their senators were not representing their opinions and were not protecting them. And for this reason, they had to look to Julius Caesar or Pompey or Crassus, because they believed that if they could take power, they could potentially afford them rights that they would not get from their senators.